The Traditional Summer Breakup by Floating Bubblesque. Chapter 3. Shota was suspicious. Problem child number 1 had just given him filled out forms asking for permission to carry multiple real knives during the training camp. Now Midoriya having a knife wasn't unusual. He trained with all kinds of weapons for the hero course, quoting a lot of loopholes in the UA rulebooks that only prohibited those with quirks from unsupervised weapons training regarding any weapons unrelated to that quirk. Since he was quirkless, he trained whenever he wanted with whatever he wanted, and all Shota could do was beg that he used training weapons UA had in stock instead of real ones if he wasn't supervised. Normally, Midoriya was fine with using the very high quality training weapons for classes, so it was unusual that he'd suddenly ask for permission to use real ones for the summer training camp. The training ones were specially made to have the same weight balance and material feel as their real counterparts, while also being non-lethal so he wouldn't have to hold back in sparring sessions. Honestly, requesting real ones was very impractical, since he'd have to hold himself back when using them, unless he had a reason involving wanting someone injured. "What's this for, problem child?" Shota squinted, his eyes at Midoriya, knowing full well that his glare was effective on him even if his quirk wasn't. It's just a precaution, in case of emergency," he explained, voice wavering, more like a question than a statement. Shota needed to teach him to be a better liar if this kid was going to be an underground hero. "Either lie better and tell me the truth, or I won't approve the form," he said as he crossed his arms, waiting to see what his problem child would say. Midoriya fidgeted under his scrutiny, but he eventually steeled himself to admit to whatever he was planning, or he was psyching himself up to lie more effectively. Midoriya barely got the single word out before shrinking back into himself, seemingly ashamed. He whined and squirmed. Shota sighed. "If you're honest, I don't care why you want to bring real weapons. I'll approve it. But I need to know why, so I can prepare safety measures," he exasperatingly explained. Midoriya nodded, but looked just as shy as before. "It's for, Midoriya fidgeted some more, mumbling under his breath and staring at his shoes. "I'm breaking up with Kachan." Now that set off all of Shota's alarms in his head. Why the fuck would his problem child need real fucking knives to break up with his boyfriend? And why the fuck did he not figure out sooner that those two were dating? "Why do you need real knives for that, Midoriya?" he pushed, unable to keep the concern and surprise out of his voice. He honestly couldn't figure out if this was a situation where Midoriya didn't feel safe, or if Bakugo was the one who needed protection. For all Shota knew, Bakugo could have cheated on Midoriya and he was planning on revenge. On the other hand, it was possible that Bakugo was abusive, and Midoriya might simply feel like he needs the extra protection to get out of the situation. "It's kind of embarrassing," Midoriya trailed off, rubbing the nape of his neck shyly. Shota carefully studied him, not sensing any fear under the shy expression. But if they'd been dating for a long time, Midoriya might just be very good at hiding it. He didn't seem particularly angry though, so Shota decided to brush off the idea that Midoriya was planning revenge. Hopefully Shota read that right. "Midoriya, are you safe?" he asked, his tone firm, and willing to take any bullshit. Midoriya blinked at him a bit, before anxiously waving his hands around in denial. "Oh my gosh, wait, Kachan isn't abusive, I promise, it's just tradition," he sputtered. This time it was Shota's turn to blink. He furrowed his brows in confusion. "Tradition?" he prodded. "Yeah, that's the embarrassing part," Midoriya admitted, fidgeting shyly again. "We break up every summer, and it's become kind of competitive, I guess. I know it's a bit weird, But also, if I don't have real knives, then he'll just charge through my training ones without thinking twice. Midoriya paused, his face morphing into a bright, excited expression. If I win this year, I'm going to make him take us to the Heroes Hall of Fame when we get back together in fall. Shota squinted at him for a while longer. He had no fucking clue what was going on, but his problem child was safe and happy, and that was all that really mattered. And he was also curious how the knives would come into play. Alright, problem child, I'll approve the knives. Just let me see them all a day or so before the camp, so I can lock them all for approval. And please don't kill your boyfriend. At that, Problem Child jumped up and hugged him, with his usual sunshine smile. What a little menace. Thank you, thank you, thank you, he squealed. And he finally let go of Shota and ran off giggling. And Shota took a moment to process the idea of his little gremlin being so excited to threaten his boyfriend with various types of knives. He grinned. He decided right then and there that he'd invite Hisashi to the camp with him, so they could see this all go down together. Shota couldn't fucking wait to see it. And that was the end of chapter 3. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you again to Floating Bubblesque for letting me podfic this. The link in the description, you should click that and go leave kudos on the fic. Do it. And anyways, have a very nice rest of your day.